Hi there. My name's Blaine. Most of the people in my life just call me Dad. I'm a firefighter, welder, business owner, a teacher, published author, and most importantly right now, a home bar enthusiast. Recently, I felt the need to try something new while we were all stuck inside. So while everybody else was trying to figure out how to work out, I took up bartending and mixology. I've learned as I'm about to show you that while there's a few rules, anyone can learn the secrets of the world's best bars and mixologists. I've also learned it doesn't take a lot to get started. Your bar doesn't have to be amazing, and then you can literally be the star of any party you go to. I created these videos to give you the insight and teach you the skills that I've learned. In them we'll make the Prohibition-era classics, as well as many of the new cocktails you might find on a night out. I'll touch a bit on the history of each, probably throw in a few good dad jokes for good measure. So come on in, have a seat, relax. I'll ask you the same question I ask all my friends and family now that they're old enough when they come over. You care for a drink? A 98-year-old Mother Superior lay dying in her convent. The nuns gathered around her bed to try and make her comfortable and ease her on her final journey. They tried to give her some warm milk, but she refused it. One of the nuns took the glass back to the kitchen, and remembering a bottle of whiskey they had been given as a Christmas gift the year before, poured a generous portion into the glass. She took it back to Mother and put it to her lips. Mother Superior drank a little of it, and then a little more. Before you knew it, she had drank the entire glass down to the last drop. Mother, the nuns asked her in earnest, "Please give us some wisdom before you die." She raised herself up on the bed, slowly opened her mouth and whispered, "Don't sell that cow." Whiskey. That's the topic of today's show. Specifically, the second most popular of the whiskey drinks, the whiskey sour. Now, to understand where the whiskey sour comes from, we got to go way back to the 1700s when ocean-going vessels sailed the seas by wind power. See, the original sailing ships for both navies and commercial ventures had a problem on their hands. You see, if you were traveling over land, you could simply find a town, get supplies like water, food, or whatever you might need. When you're on a voyage that lasts several months, well, let's just say a whole lot of your food and most of your water is spoiled due to lack of refrigeration. In fact, when you hear about navies or other seafaring men getting a daily rum, brandy, or whiskey ration, it's because the alcohol in the drink didn't spoil or get bacteria or germ growth in it like water did. Now, the booze wasn't that great. At least the sailors didn't dehydrate from lack of fluid intake. In addition, it was known that eating citrus fruits helped to prevent the dreaded disease scurvy. They didn't understand it was the vitamin C in the fruits, but they did know that eating the citrus helped to keep them healthy for the long voyage. It was during this time that one Vice Admiral Edward Vernon of England began mixing a few ingredients together to serve to his crew. Knowing that a bunch of drunken sailors was never a good thing on a boat, he mixed the daily ration of rum, some citrus to kill the taste of the rum, some water because the alcohol in the rum would kill the cooties in the water, and a bit of sugar together, and the basic precursor of the sour was born. The sailors liked the concoction so much that it became the favorite way that they got their rations, and they stayed healthier to boot. Eventually, the drink made it off the ships and onto land. In the United States, the drink was popularized with whiskey instead of the rum, while in Europe, brandy or gin were the preferred spirits. Another thought is that the sour is nothing more than a single version of what then was known as punch. See, this recipe was popular for large gatherings and called for 1 sour, 2 sweet, 3 strong, 4 weak. The mix is a little bit off, but you kind of get the idea. The whiskey sour proved to be a very popular beverage in the United States. Abraham Lincoln was said to enjoy it. It was so popular that none other than the father of American modern bartending, Jerry Thomas, mentioned it and provided the recipe in his 1862 book, The Bartender's Guide by Jerry Thomas. In his recipe calls for whiskey, lemon juice, a small amount of seltzer water, and some powdered sugar. This was shaken over crushed ice to provide the water dilution, and then it was strained into a glass and garnished with berries. Today, the whiskey sour is still going strong. In many bars, it's the #1 drink order. And it's right up there with the old-fashioned in the pantheon of whiskey drinks. There are numerous other variations of it. The two most common are the Boston Sour and the New York Sour. The Boston Sour adds egg white for a creamy, frothy top on it. The New York Sour has a layer of red wine floated on top. They're both outstanding in their own right, and each should be tried because they're all fantastic. I would recommend, however, drinking your whiskey sour using the original recipe. Today, most are made in bars and clubs with pre-mixed sweet and sour mix. And I think this does an injustice to the original. Even though they can be very good, it's hard to beat the simple mix of sweet, sour, water, and whiskey, shaken over ice. So what do you say? You care for a drink? How about a whiskey sour? So what we're going to do is we're going to do all 3 versions today. We'll start with the original. This one we'll use 4 roses, and we'll go with 2 ounces. And into that, we're going to add 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. Okay. And then we're also going to add 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. Ice in our glass. And shake. Strain that out into our cocktail glass. And then we'll garnish that with a simple cherry. The original whiskey sour. Let's do a Boston sour. Making a mess. So for this one, we'll use my favorite, Wild Turkey 101, 2 ounces. Another 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. And 3/4 of an ounce simple syrup. Now for this one, we're going to add egg white. Now the trick here is not to get, you don't need that much. That's plenty. Now whenever you're working with egg whites, you need to dry shake first. So you'll notice I don't put any ice in here. Egg white needs to emulsify, and so we've got to get that good and shaken up so that it'll emulsify in with the whiskey. But the alcohol is going to help that. All right, got a good shake. Now we're going to add our ice. And shake it again. Strain this out. Oh yeah. Get all that foam out there. And then we'll garnish that with a little bit of an orange and a cherry. The Boston sour. And last, let's do a New York. Mixing tin. For this one, we'll use a little bit of our Canadian friends. We'll use some Pendleton. 2 ounces. Again, 2 ounces of lemon juice. Or excuse me, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. Three-quarters of an ounce simple syrup. Ice in our glass. And shake. rinse the strainer off a little. And strain. Now you can put these over the rocks, that's fine. I think they're better just like this. And then we're going to try and we're going to float a little red wine on top. Just like so. And then we can garnish this one. I'll just do a flag right here. And there you have it. The whiskey sour. The Boston sour. And the New York sour. And they're all fantastic. Try them all. Well, that's last call. Thanks for stopping by. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like down below. Feel free to leave a comment as well. You never know, I might feature your drink next. While you're at it, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? That way you'll know when I've got new content out. You know, each of these videos takes me between 2 and 4 hours to shoot and edit. Couple that with the cost of the booze and the ingredients, it's a good size investment for me. I'd really appreciate it if you're so inclined, and if you would help me cover the cost of my time and ingredients, you can do so by heading over to my Patreon page at patreon.com/drinkswithdad. There you'll find additional footage, contents, a monthly newsletter. There's a lot more than that. You'll also be able to help support me keep creating these videos. I'll see you next time.